welcome to the Echoes of Emery podcast. Your hosts here, Megan.
And I'm Laura. Welcome to episode 2.
Welcome to episode 2. Thanks for coming back. And if you're new here, welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to everyone who has listened to the first episode, reached out to us, and just given us some great feedback. I think that's kind of been the highlight of our month.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Got a lot of texts from some people that I didn't even realize were going to listen, so that was cool.
Yeah, it's been awesome. So just really glad to have you guys along for the ride. And again, welcome if you're new to this. Should be good. Should be another good episode today. We're going to continue talking about the sirens and silence in our life. So this is part 2, where the topic today will focus on the concept of medic mentality or medic mode.
Yeah, so like medic mentality, medic mode, these are words that I hear around the house a lot.
Yes.
So if you can just like in your own words explain what my medic mode or what I do whenever I'm in my medic mentality.
Yeah, for sure. So the way that we kind of define, or like when we're talking about, or I'm bringing up, like, hey, you're in medic mode, you have this medic mentality, you're basically just in fix it mode.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all logic and not necessarily at the time that that's happening, maybe what I need. So we're kind of indicating this to be an unhelpful mode
Mm.
at home,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So because you have to be in this mode
Mm-hmm.
at work.
Yeah.
And let's time out here. It's EMS week.
Yeah, happy EMS week. It's the end of it. Hope you had a wonderful EMS week to all of
Hopefully you were
our
appreciated wherever you're at.
first responders.
Yeah, hopefully people have said some kind words to you, and
Got some nice free meals and
you got
snacks.
some swag.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got some swag this week. But what better way to keep talking about just this medic mentality
Mm-hmm.
while it's also, and it's EMS week,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still Mental Health Awareness Month, and we're coming to the end of the week, we're coming to the end of the month, and this was a topic that it's been a hot topic this year,
Are
maybe the
those
last
still open?
2 years.
Hot topics? Are those still open?
I don't know.
Okay.
Is hot topics open?
Well, we'll
Okay,
figure it out later.
we'll figure it out later. So we're talking about the medic mentality causing us problems at home, in
Mm-hmm.
the relationship, maybe even in your other relationships. Like, so that's how I define this, and that's how we together have come to figure out that this can be super unhelpful for us, and especially for me
Mm-hmm.
when I'm looking for something else. And yet you have to maintain staying in this mode and mentality for the sake of your job. So I guess, like, my question for you is, and maybe we can just kind of talk about this together with everyone. How did we even figure like this out? Like, how did you even become aware of
Yeah.
all of this? So like when this was be happening, like kind of this light switch
Mm-hmm.
from the job,
Yeah.
like coming off a shift. And
I mean, like, so being a medic, and from learning even from the beginning of EMT classes,
yeah.
you have to, or you learn these protocols, and like, you do this in this order so that you don't forget something, you don't skip something, that something doesn't come back to bite you later, like, so you don't miss anything. You go in this order,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a certain set that you always do, and that
Mm-hmm.
is just how it is. And so
Yeah.
if it is this, then you can do this and it will hopefully fix it. If it's not that, then you do something else to hopefully fix it. And so I do realize that I bring that home a lot, where like I don't have the emotional connection because I am just like thinking like, oh, I need to do this to fix that for you, and then things will be fine, when like that's not always what you're needing.
Yeah.
A lot of the times you're just wanting me to sit there and listen to you.
Yeah.
when I am trying to be like, oh, well, let's do this to fix that. I can do this for you to do that. Like, and always trying to fix it. Um, being in that medic mentality.
Right, to like make it better for
Mhm.
me. And because if I'm not feeling good,
Mhm.
or if something's really upset me and I do just need you to be there with me, because I think for some people, and I'm just speaking to myself right now with kind of my therapist hat off in
Mhm.
this moment. Like I sometimes just need to be miserable.
Mhm.
I think I've found that over time that I need to just wallow in some things so that then I can come to my own conclusion or work my way through it, work through my narratives in my mind.
Mhm.
And in that, I think I look to you for that company.
Yeah.
Now, right, wrong, or indifferent in this moment, and just for the sake of our topic today, what we're saying is this is where the disconnect happens
Mhm.
because you want to then say something,
Mhm.
do something
Yeah.
to fix it, put a band aid on it for me, right?
Mhm.
Stitch it up, wrap it up,
Yep.
give
And
me some
just
meds,
yeah, make it all better and go about our way.
boom.
Yeah.
So that then that helps you, right? So because when I'm in a mood,
Mhm.
and I don't say that like jokingly, like I am going through a variety of like emotional experiences
Mhm.
and I'm not, you know, feeling pleasant, that of course is affecting you.
Mhm. Yeah. And I mean, another like side part of the medic mentality too is that like anytime that you're hurt or you're sick or anything,
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, you're not bleeding,
Yeah.
you're still breathing, you're fine. And that's not always like the best thing either because like I know that you're just needing that comfort from me and to try and like make you feel better. And I'm just like, oh, well, do you want me to take you to the hospital? Like, there's nothing else I can really do for you here. If you want to feel
Hmm.
better, let's go to the hospital. Like,
Well, yeah, even if it's not to that extreme, like you have then at times said, well, then go get it checked out.
mm-hmm.
I can only do so much, or,
Yeah.
and yeah, so that's how that, like, we could be, yeah, I could be actually physically ill or sick,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll kind of spit off some, like, what could X, Y, and Z? Well,
Mm-hmm.
did you do this? Did you do that? And sometimes it's pretty nonchalant, right? So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I think we've come into this,
Sometimes it's just my little, there, pat you on the back. There.
yeah, like it's not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, you good? Like,
Hey, I
yeah,
just had this person have this wrong with them. Like, you're fine.
right, and that shows up, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all wrapped up into this mode.
Yep.
Um, and it's something I think we didn't know together.
Mm-hmm.
Like we never had this conversation, uh, like the beginning of our relationship,
Yeah.
and gosh, even a year and a half ago, or like our marriage. Like
Mm-hmm.
we weren't having really, well, maybe we were starting to
Yeah.
figuring it all out at that time, but gosh, and that caused the bigger disconnect, like not knowing what was actually happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just like avoiding, like not
Right, so
having
it
those
just would
thoughts.
always make it seem like you just didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so like through your lens of the medic mode, there's like this, it's not that big of a deal,
Mm-hmm.
or well, we can find an outcome, or it's going to be okay
Mm-hmm.
type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm over here, like, as I see it, then, like, that's how you would see it. But then I see that as you don't care enough.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Something's wrong with me.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it like it goes down all of those narratives that
Different
we
rabbit
have
holes, yeah.
on our consciousness. Um,
Word finding.
yeah, this is difficult.
Word finding's hard. Give us a
Um,
moment. Give her a moment. The different narratives.
I mean, yeah, and so then it like goes even deeper into like things from the past and
Yeah.
um all of that kind of stuff too. Like you with your saying that like what was your narrative that you just said? My goodness.
My narratives.
Yeah, like
Yeah. So when it's like something's wrong with
yeah, something's
me,
wrong with you.
I can't be happy,
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, you
And then
don't
if I can't
care.
fix that, if I can't help you, if I can't fix that right away, then I feel like there's something wrong with me or that I'm a
Yes.
failure. And then it just
Yeah.
puts us both down a dark, deep hole.
Mhm.
So I think it's good that we have both been in therapy for
Mhm.
X amount of years.
Yeah.
So now we are really good at talking about these things.
Right.
Um,
But we weren't,
yeah.
right? So I think
Oh
for
yeah.
everyone
Years
to
ago,
know,
definitely not. I would
no.
just sit here silently. You would
Yeah.
have a brick wall.
Yeah, I would I how many times I tell you, I said I feel like I'm talking to a brick wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder how many others are out there like even if you're just not maybe you don't even you're not even in the field,
Mm-hmm.
but just relationship in general, maybe this is something others are experiencing where it's maybe the other job that you're in or your spouse is in or significant other or just someone that's important to you,
Mm-hmm.
friends or family, maybe they're in a field where they you have to be always critically thinking.
Mm-hmm. Or like not letting things get to you.
Yeah, sorry, that's what
Mm-hmm.
I meant to add too,
Yeah.
that maybe this is what this looks like and what we're finding right now. I'll put my little bit of my therapist is half on.
You can just put
Therapist
like
hat
your
is half
therapist
on.
bow or your
My
therapist visor.
my
Your therapist visor. That's what's on.
my therapist visor is on, right?
Mm-hmm.
This stuff, there's stuff from the past.
Mm-hmm.
It's called your adverse childhood experiences.
Everyone's got them.
Everyone's got them to a different degree, different level of intensities.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actual measurement. There's an actual score assessment tool out there now that people get or can take to see where they kind of land on the adverse childhood experiences and
Mm-hmm.
how much at risk you are for like post traumatic stress disorder or other um, uh, like stress
Conditions and
related,
whatnot.
yeah, just
Mm-hmm.
and in the mental health spectrum, like
Yeah.
they have that available now. But we were other people. You were someone else before being a medic.
Mm-hmm.
So now, like, could you talk about, like, do you feel like you've always been in this kind of mode, like your whole life? Did you feel it transition? You said when you were in your basic class, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's where you
Yeah,
started to feel it shift.
I do feel like I have always been in the fix it mode. Like I am always the one that like, oh, I need
Mm,
to help other people. I need to do
mm-hmm.
this
Yeah.
for you. Not really thinking about myself. And so like, yes, that has always been um prevalent. As far as like who I was before I was a medic, I was a kid. I went into medic school as soon as or basic and then medic school as soon as I graduated from college. So, like, yeah, I know some people start earlier, but like, I still feel like at the age of 22, I was still a kid. I didn't know
Yeah.
anything, like, and I was just thrown into this kind of. And so, yeah, I feel like I don't know who I was before I was a medic because I was a kid. I didn't really know anything yet. And so now, like, I don't like to think that being a medic is my entire persona. Um, but it is definitely a huge part of me and
Mm-hmm.
like the needing to always help other people and
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing as well.
Mm-hmm. So that could play like into like I guess the difficulty that it is to get out of that mode.
Mm-hmm.
Like and years ago, yes, I know you say you've been like you were a kid and
Mm-hmm.
like your mind at that time being in college, like it's kind of like this maturity level,
Mm-hmm.
kind of even referencing. And at that time, you weren't focused on going to therapy. You weren't
Yeah.
thinking about the things that happened when you were growing up or that were
Mm-hmm.
really happening to you,
Yeah,
right? We're
no.
just kind of you're figuring out who you really then wanted to be as far
Mm-hmm.
as your profession or your career.
Yeah.
Yeah. So getting out of it like at home, right? Like how could we, sometimes when I'm working with clients and we're actually identifying and checking out, like checking the sources of like, yeah, we're actually stuck in this fix it mode. How do we
Mhm.
get you out of it?
Mhm.
What was the first step like you took? Or I guess maybe yeah, what's the first step you took that you feel like could help someone who's maybe just starting to recognize, wow, I actually might be
I
the one
mean,
doing this at home?
yeah, I mean the first step is of course recognizing that you're doing
Okay,
it.
so an awareness.
Yeah. And then just like being able to connect with others, whether it be your friends or your significant other, your
Mm-hmm.
spouse, and like knowing their needs
Mm,
and knowing if you are meeting them or if you are falling short. And so, like, obviously, me being in medic mode, I am falling short every time because you are needing more of like the emotional connection and stuff like that. And
yeah.
I am just fix it, fix it, fix it. And so, um, yeah, you have to be aware that you are in that mentality and not giving your people what they are really needing from you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when you were saying that, I was thinking of that comedian. Um, her name's not important right now. It'll come later. And but we just watched this Netflix
Mhm.
special of hers, and she's married to a New York firefighter, and
Mhm.
she says, "You guys are emotional deserts."
Mhm.
We were able to laugh about it, and just because that I think
There are so many things
that
that like yes, it is
resonated
to a T.
that resonated with me as a spouse,
Mhm.
right? Like it, and we're not right now. I'm not saying that as a knock on you, but
Mhm.
it can feel that way.
Mhm.
Like,
But I mean, yeah, that's a defense mechanism for us while we're on the job. And so like yeah, sometimes it is hard for us to turn that back off or to be able to even reach in to our more emotional sides to like tap into those.
yeah. So it's the process of like figuring this all out and how to find the on off switch essentially
Mhm.
for like when it's helpful at home, when it's not helpful is a it's like a I feel like it's a day by day and a week by week process.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like there wouldn't
And
be
it's just like a
anything
learning thing constantly.
constantly yet because my needs are changing,
Mhm.
right? What I might need in a day, it shifts. But then I even think back to times where I was like relentless
Mhm.
and like I couldn't see what my own narratives were, and you were actually trying to adjust that switch.
Mhm.
Like you were learning about this before while I was in the midst of trying to figure out some of my own things from the past.
Mhm.
And in that, it really activated my emotional needs
Mhm.
and that comfort and that connection with you while you were trying to figure out a new way to approach this. So, what advice would you have for anyone that's like sitting here, maybe listening and saying, well, I've tried these things, and yet my person, it just like it does not work. And I don't know how much more I can keep turning the switch on and off or trying
Mhm.
different things because we've been through that.
Mhm. And yeah, I mean, it's just that word that you just use is trying. Like, don't give up on trying. Like, continue trying until you find something that works. And then also, like, have those difficult conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like, becoming an adult, I have had multiple difficult conversations with you, with my friends. Like,
Crucial. Yeah.
have those conversations with people. It will only make you closer and have better connections with other people and like actually know how to have a genuine connection,
Mm-hmm.
friendship, relationship with these people.
Yeah.
And then like yeah, as you're having these conversations, you'll find out what they need, what you need, and then it'll all together just make it a better relationship, better life, like all around. So it's just so yeah, acknowledging, trying to turn it off yourself, and then like having those connections, talking through things, and then if all else fails, having your friends or your spouse or whoever call you out on
Mm-hmm.
your bull. Um,
So that's why we say, right? You're
yeah.
kind of now, before it used to bother you
Mm-hmm.
when I say you're in medic mode.
Mm-hmm. I'd be like, I
You're in
can't help
fix it.
it.
You're like, yeah, I'd be like, you're in fix it mode right now. That's not what I need. And you would get upset. Now, it's almost kind of the way that our body works, like our nervous system, right? Our body's constantly looking for threats. These
Mm-hmm.
things are going to be threatening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're going to feel threatened by even every helpful and supportive strategy
Mm-hmm.
that people suggest or that you're going to try out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that in and of itself is going to be threatening.
Oh yeah.
And even whoever you're trying it out on.
Because yeah, and initially it's a foreign thing to you. So like, yeah, you
Yeah,
don't
and
know
yeah,
what exactly you're doing, if it's gonna turn out good or not. But like, I think the thing is to not stay stuck, to try.
just kind of keep moving,
Mhm.
knowing that it's not going to feel pretty pleasant like every time. I
Mhm.
think that's been the key. Like, there have definitely been times where you have adjusted that mode, and I was still really feeling down and out about something, and
Mhm.
yet and then it would take me some time to come out of it. Now, this process we know is not perfect for everyone, and sometimes
Mhm.
these things in relationships just don't work,
Yeah.
right? So sometimes someone can really, really be trying and have everyone else around them supporting them and seeing that they really are trying. But the individual on the receiving end, the spouse, significant other, whoever it is, if it just isn't working, I mean,
Mhm.
there might be other things happening,
Yeah.
right?
For
And
sure.
that's where you end up kind of then just drawing the line because, I mean, we've been there
Mhm.
even in our the newlywed phase.
Mhm.
Those crucial conversations that we had
Mhm.
in relation to this medic mentality and the fix it mode, when I was really feeling like you just weren't able to fix it in the way that I thought you were supposed to be fixing it.
Mhm.
I mean, we were already talking about splitting up.
Mhm. Yeah, that first year was a little rough, but
Not now that goes into conversations, right? Like of how to deal with conflict and communicate effectively. That
mhm.
was in the middle of us trying to figure that out. So, right,
Yeah.
like using ultimatums and threats, like we were we were stumbling our way through
Mhm.
this. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong with this, if you feel the same way, let me know. But the medic mode, the medic mentality, like we stumble our way
Mhm.
through it.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it, and we did.
I there's a was that a Taylor Swift reference?
Yeah.
She's gonna everyone she's gonna be throwing probably those things in there like
Just gonna
that.
sprinkle them in.
But there's actually a way that I like to think about it is face it till
Mhm.
you make it.
Yeah.
Because we don't, I think what we're trying to get across too is like you have been faking it
Mhm. And that wasn't working.
and that wasn't working.
Yeah.
But see, that's even right in real time. A
Mhm.
phrase when you that's that real time right there. You might say it, you might do it, but you caught it in like we caught it in seconds.
Mhm.
And then we can talk through it and be like, yep, that one sounds better. Let's go with that.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, just all around, our communication has gotten so much better just by trying.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the big thing. Y'all just
And there
gotta
were
try.
times we didn't want to try anymore and we wanted to give up. Like
Mhm.
this process is not linear.
Mhm.
And we each have a boundary, we each have a line in the sand. And, everyone will, every
Mhm.
relationship is going to be different because each person out there that might be listening right now, your relationship is different. Your set of life experiences are uniquely your own.
Mhm.
So what we're just saying here today is if any of this again is
Resonates with
resonating
you.
with you, right? We just hope that there's something like
Mhm.
a takeaway from this is it's not nice being on the other end of the medic mode.
Understood.
But also it's been helpful.
Mhm.
So we talk about it has this um like taste to it where it first starts off as like this is unhelpful.
Mhm.
And yet over the last year and a half, the worst of it, there's actually been some good
Mhm.
and it actually has been helpful. And I think some people appreciate this that maybe follow us on like our personal social media pages or whatever, just know us personally. This house that we bought,
Mm-hmm.
right? It is a fixer upper.
Yeah.
Who's all over this, everyone? The medic.
Yep.
This
I
is, these skills have translated
For real though, like
to the handiwork.
I think back to when we first were doing flooring in your office.
So let's pause. Just this is now we're going to go off on a little side note, a little fun part of this conversation right now. And for those that don't know, we bought a house. It's going to be 3 years. In
Mm-hmm.
the fall, it'll be 3 years.
Yep.
Our first home together.
Mm-hmm.
At the peak of what we thought the housing market was bad then,
Mm-hmm.
kind of not what it is now, but all we could get was a fixer upper.
Yep.
I didn't want it because I knew how much work and how much fixing we would have to do to it.
I thought it would be fun.
Laura was all into it and all about it. And of course, other like reasons were in there to move and things like that. And so we did it. We jumped in head first, got closed on the house, got the keys. As soon as we got the keys, drove over to the house and we just started demoing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying, and we started with the floor.
Yeah.
So you were mentioning with the floor, something stuck out to you.
Yeah, it was just when we were trying to put the closet back together in your office,
Oh,
you got so frustrated
yeah.
that you were just like, we'll just close the doors. We're never going to use this closet again. And like my medic mentality, I'm like, no, I will continue working on this like until I get it figured out. Like even yesterday I was working on a new light fixture and like I
Yeah.
will not give up. I will do it 50 bazillion times. It's not always the smartest or the right way, but like I will eventually figure it out.
Right. But then when it comes to me emotionally,
Yeah. Still work
but these are
still
the
working
things
on
that,
it. I'm
but,
still trying.
and like how many other people can relate to that?
Mhm.
For some people, some of these things just come, that's your craft.
Yep.
Like
Your craft is the
you're
mind
so
and
good at it.
emotions and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
I am a
I'll
fixer.
tell you, so if I'll speak a little bit to then the medic mode, and again, today is just more about what in the spirit of EMS week, like we really, obviously this is kind of like, I'm kind of targeting this as like, this is like your episode, right? We want to
Mhm.
highlight this medic mentality, but sprinkle in a little bit of those on the other end of this
Mhm.
that are, that dealing with their person getting stuck in this mode. Or one thing that helped me, and I kind of came to my own conclusion of this one day,
Mhm.
I was like, I actually, just to try and do a little trick on my brain and my nervous system, is I was like, this is what you're good at. This is
Mhm.
your skill. You fine tune this and you craft your problem solving and the speed of your logic.
Mhm.
Like you are a phenomenal medic. I have seen you in action.
Mhm. Thank you.
And what I know other people say, right? Like it was in that moment I said to myself, I am not take I have an opportunity to actually build you up in your skill
Mhm.
and not just always bring this down, because your medic mode translates to so many other things in your life, and that's now our life and mine, that have
Mhm.
actually been so helpful. This house
Mhm.
got put together and got fixed,
Mhm.
and you did majority of the work with help from others.
Mhm.
And everyone that has followed along, they have seen that, the
Mhm.
videos that we would post. And this is a part of it that we never talked about in those videos. My frustration with this house, the truth of that is not, we're not going to change that.
Mhm.
But your ability and how good you are at not giving up on those things,
Mhm.
and you actually did not, then you never ended up giving up on me
Mhm.
and trying to figure out this piece. That's the most unfamiliar it's the most vulnerable, and it's
Mhm.
been the most threatening. And for each person that gets stuck in whatever mode they get stuck in,
Mhm.
especially the medic mentality,
Mhm. We're just always trying still.
we're trying.
Mhm. That's all you can do sometimes.
You're trying. And the first step is awareness and
Mhm.
talking.
Yeah.
Talk can be the medicine at first.
Mhm.
And there are people out here that have paved the way and that are available to like help take those next steps, if especially if you're recognizing
That
this is not work,
you
something's
need a
not
little
working.
extra help. You need a professional
Yeah, my
to
relationships are
step in.
hurting,
Yeah.
like I'm not able to connect, I'm something feels off,
Mhm.
whatever it may be. There are ways to understand this, to communicate this with others.
Mhm.
And I think along the way, you end up finding then who your people are,
Oh yeah,
right?
for
Like your
sure.
closest people,
Mhm.
like all of that. So I loved that we were able to start tying in the house renovations. I know
Yeah.
we had mentioned to some people that we're going to start to try to do that as well. And so that was just
It's
a
gonna be
little
hard.
nugget.
I've kind of fixed a lot of things in this house. There's not much left. Just the
Yeah.
quarter round for it's always gonna be there. Oh, the quarter round. If anyone wants to
Any
install some quarter round, come on over.
any last words,
I don't
Laura,
believe
for
so.
anyone that's any fellow
Yeah, for my
medic
fellow
motors,
emotionally uh deserted EMS people out
anyone in the
there.
desert, anyone in the
Yeah.
emotional
If
desert
you're
out
hanging out in the
there.
desert with me, first of all, I need to get out of the desert because I will burn. My skin hates all things sun related. But yeah, you're not alone. Talk to
Never,
someone.
never alone.
I mean, if you're in EMS, you know that like the people on your shift, I mean, hopefully, you have become super duper close with them. So like you can
Mm-hmm.
always talk to them. Like they are most likely going through some of the same
Yeah.
things that you are,
Yep.
as far as like family and relationships and whatnot. So like it
Mm-hmm.
is great to talk to them, bounce ideas off of them, just like sometimes you need to vent. But definitely make those connections as often as you can.
Yeah. Same for spouses,
Hmm.
significant others. You
Hmm.
know, I wish I had this advice for myself a long time ago. And this is something I wish I, of course, in hindsight, wish I figured out a long time ago. But go to the station,
Hmm.
hang out, get to know the people
Hmm.
that
Yeah,
your person is around
I know
for
that
hours on end.
I know the people at my station love it every time that Megan and Mia come to visit. Like, yeah, a lot of the times I'm unlucky and I get a call the moment that you park in the parking lot,
Yeah,
but
but
like it's so great for you to even just like connect with my people so that my people can meet you, be around you and like
mhm.
yeah.
They say it for other things in life, it takes a village.
Mhm.
I mean, this is the same. Like, this is the part where a lot of people talk like, this is your other family. This is
Mhm.
our family.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know that I have other um, individuals that understand
Mhm.
the implications and the effects and the impacts of this medic mentality.
Mhm.
So we're at the end of the day, we're talking about a mode that creates connection and disconnection and
Mhm.
a constant wave and
Yeah.
an ebb and a flow.
Mhm.
And we're also finding that to face it, right? Not fake it till you make it, but to
Mhm.
face it individually
Mhm.
and together, it's through forms of connection.
Yeah. Just got
And
to
it
do the
starts
hard
with being
stuff.
vulnerable.
Yep, do the hard stuff. Be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only way it'll start getting better.
Find what works for you. There are a bunch of resources out there. reach out to myself or Laura if you're interested in like just getting connected and just wanting that support. We're
Mhm.
here. If you don't feel safe enough or comfortable enough with anyone in your department or whatever it is, there are people outside of that here for you.
Yep.
So next time, I'm thinking we'll continue parts of this conversation and
Mhm.
maybe continue to break down um, maybe the significant others or spouses side of this.
Mhm.
But stay tuned for that. We just really appreciate again you guys listening. Thank you for taking some time out of your day to hear what we had to say.
Have a happy and safe Memorial Day
Until
weekend.
next time, yep, Memorial Day weekend. We're remembering actually what this is all about and know that
Mhm.
this isn't a happy time for some people. And so we hope that you are able to surround yourselves with some comfort in whatever you need. So
Mhm.
until next time, everybody, adios.
Have a good day.